Sorry if I freak out on you a little.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Marvelous Videos, where today we're looking into everybody's current obsession, Severance. Directed by Ben Stiller and created by Dan Erickson, Severance aired its first episode in February of 2022. After the super long wait, about 3 years, we finally have Season 2, which has reinvigorated fans to begin theorizing about the mysterious Lumon Industries. As we follow our favorite Innies, Mark, Dylan, Helly, and Irving, as they try to decode the mysteries of Lumon, let's explore the creation of Severance. How are the employees severed? How is the effect created on screen? Let's try to answer these questions today. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means an awful lot. Thank you, and let's begin.
Now to start, who are you?
That's the first question?
The Severance. Severance, starring Adam Scott, focuses primarily on the process colloquially known as severance. Employees are offered a brain surgery to perfectly separate their professional life from their personal life. Talk about perfect work-life balance, right? That's the hook with which Lumon Industries attracts workers who fail to realize that they are actually making life worse for themselves. The surgery itself is quite simple and painless. They drill a hole in the crown of your head and implant a chip that dissects your neural pathways. The chip is shown to be a tiny capsule with red and black parts and has come a long way from its original prototype, a tiny capsule with green and blue lights. The surgery itself is done while you're awake, but you're soon sedated and taken to the waking room, a room on the severance floor which has a table and a speaker. They lay your sedated and unconscious body on the table, and when you wake up, you'll hear the voice of your department head asking you questions to determine whether the surgery has been a success. What if my Innie is threatened and tries to leave? Well, they have a protocol in place for that too. If your Innie asks thrice to be let out, you will be let out, and then it will be up to your Outie to decide whether you'll give up and go home or continue to work as a severed employee. The neural chip is turned on whenever you enter the elevator or stairway to this severed floor in Lumon Industries. Once the chip is on, you have no memory of your outer self. These workers are called Innies, a simple enough nomenclature to remember. These Innies have very basic knowledge. They can form sentences, know how to do basic math, and even knowledge about various things, but they have no memory of their outer selves. They are a blank slate, ready to be inducted into the obedient workforce of Lumon. The Outies, on the other hand, still retain all their memories except for the new ones they make on Lumon. They carry on with their lives and do not worry about work because their Innie handles it for them. Unfortunately, life as an Innie is torturous, as Innies have no memory of ever leaving the office and seem to be working in perpetuity. They have also literally tortured in the break room whenever they break any of the rules of Lumon Industries. Innies no doubt have the short end of the stick, not to mention that their resignation needs to be given by their outer self. This is quite impossible, as the Outie never realizes that their Innie might be having a hard time at a job and almost always refuses to resign. Severance is not so popular inside their fictional world either. There are many people who are for it, like politicians in Lumon's pockets and the people obsessed with the founder of Lumon Industries, Keir Egan. Others raise up the moral issues that Severance brings up and highlight the ethically gray area of the severance procedure. For one, the severed Innie is eliminated with their memory never being accessed if they are ever fired. The other ethical issue is about consensual relationships in the workplace. We are shown a sneak peek of a television debate between people who are on opposing sides of the severance debate, and a case of a pregnant woman is brought up who does not remember who impregnated her. There are many people who also compare severance with slavery, and they may not be as far off as the Innies are not really inside by their own volition. It is almost like two people sharing a body. One decides what the other one gets to do, and that is not really fair, but legally they are the same person. Truly a conundrum. The technical aspects of Severance. One of the best aspects employed in Severance is during the elevator scenes. If you remember, the Outies transfer to the Innies in the elevator, and the effect itself is very impressive. The director, Ben Stiller, broke down the technical aspects of this scene in an interview at Vanity Fair with Adam Scott. The shot is famously known as the dolly zoom, and you have most likely caught it in blockbusters like Jaws and Vertigo. The dolly zoom utilizes a wide lens camera and a dolly paired with a zooming effect. They zoom out onto camera while pushing it closer to get the effect. In Ben Stiller's words, if they're going from Innie to Outie, they push the camera away while zooming in and starting from a wide lens. It is vice versa when it is Outie to Innie and they end with a wide lens. Stiller made sure to thank his precursors, Alfred Hitchcock and Steven Spielberg, who popularized this shooting technique before him. It is not just camera effects, as the actor in the scene also shares equal responsibility. Adam Scott admitted rolling his eyes back to demonstrate the effect of changing selves in the show. Many eagle-eyed viewers have also noticed a change in the portrayal of Innies and Outies by the same actors. The change is prominent in Mark. If you see Outie Mark, he seems to be speaking in a lower and more gruff voice, while his Innie has a slightly higher pitch along with a cheery tone. You can also see some changes in Mark when he enters the severed floor. He is lighter, more youthful, and definitely much happier on the floor. This is undoubtedly deliberate and uses good makeup and lighting techniques to manifest on our screens. The Innies clearly do not have the weights of their outer lives weighing on them. For instance, Mark does not think about his dead wife and the grief and sadness associated with it. As we said earlier, he is in a blank state. This might perhaps be intentional of Lumon Industries, as they refer to Innies as a children of Kier. The Innies are also treated like children, as they barely have any privileges and are not allowed to do anything in the office but work and are punished whenever they step out of line. How severed are the severed employees? When employees undergo severance, they are assured that no part of their outer lives will influence their inner lives and vice versa. But how true is it really? Clearly, the outer parts have a strong presence even in the enclosed memories of the workers. Let's start with Mark. Mark supposedly underwent severance to forget the death of his wife, Gemma, who died in a car collision with a tree. Technically, Innie Mark is not supposed to have any memory of Gemma or his relationship with her. This is refuted when Mark is asked to undergo a wellness session with Miss Casey, a part-time Innie, who is actually Gemma. Miss Casey offers Mark clay to create something to sculpt his feelings, and Mark begins making the tree that was involved in Gemma's car accident. Even Gemma seems to have some undisclosed memory of Mark, as she tells him that she has been awake for somewhere around 100 hours, but the hours she spent with him and Helly were the best. This is very suspicious for two reasons. The first one is that Miss Casey did nothing during the hours with Helly and Mark and was just observing Helly after her suicide attempt, a truly mundane and boring task that is not stimulating in the slightest bit. The second reason is because while Miss Casey was supposed to be observing Helly, Mark repeatedly tried to make her leave, eventually succeeding after he spilled his drink on her notepad. He even took Helly and left the office to give her some time away from Miss Casey, which eventually led to Miss Casey getting in trouble with a creepy supervisor on the floor, Mr. Milchick. It is also implied that she lost her job because of her shenanigans. Why would Miss Casey like someone who led to her losing her job? We have to assume that the Outies memory was acting up here. Dylan and Helly seem to be the only two refiners of Microdata Refinery who don't seem to be contaminated with memories from their outer selves. Irving is another interesting worker to look at, as his Innie and Outie memories seem to be bleeding into each other. His Outie keeps painting the entrance to the training floor, which technically he never saw, so perhaps the neural chip is not cut out to be 100% perfect. Marvelous verdict. So this is how the Innies and Outies are made from whole and unsevered people, divided into all work Innies and all play Outies. It is no wonder that the severed workers are on the precipice of rebellion. As the second season of Severance unfolds, we can't wait to find out more about the shady Lumon Industries. Do let us know if you have any info about the cryptic chip. But until then, may Kier guide us all. If you like the content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.